Hey guys, Otto here, back with another video. So what I want to do today, guys, is show you how you can actually start billing clients $100,000 per year. Now, if you are currently running an agency, or maybe you're a consultant or coach, whatever it might be, and you're struggling to actually close clients for anything more than $500 a month or $2,500 a month, then this video is going to be exactly what you need in order to shift your perceived value from being something that's frankly low ticket in the eyes of your ideal, clients, to something that's actually perceived as being super valuable. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in this screen share just here. Okay, so how do you go from billing your clients $500, £500 per month, to billing them a minimum of 100K per year? All right. Now, this was a question that I asked myself when I had started my business just about 6 years ago now. And I was in a position where the first client that I ever closed on a retainer basis was for £500 per month. And I remember at the time closing that client, delivering a service to them, and thinking, how on earth are all these guys out there making 10 grand a month, 60 grand a month, 200 grand a month, whatever it might be, when I'm working nigh on full time just for this £500 a month client? And what that kind of did at that stage of my kind of business's genesis was spark an interest in me inside, where I really wanted to focus on scaling a business where I could inevitably charge a lot more and frankly be seen as something as valuable and useful. And the problem is, when you're at this stage in your business growth and your business genesis, you almost become sick with the feeling that clients don't see your true value. And what happens over time, if you don't change this, is that clients will just forever see you as something and somebody who's there basically to bother them and not really to deliver anything that they should either initially pay for in the first instance, or actually just continue to pay you for. Okay. So a lot of what this has to do with is not only your offer and what you actually put forth as your kind of service that you're bringing to the market, but it also has a lot to do with your positioning. Now, in this little framework up here, I'm going to go over these 6 points, which if you leverage these 6 points, I promise you'll be able to practically overnight go from charging low ticket retainers to something that seems to be ultra high ticket, potentially to, your viewpoint and your standpoint where you are now in your business. Okay. So we hear a lot about the offer all the time. Okay. And, it's all thanks to Hormozi and his value equation. But the problem is with the offer stage of your business and your sort of journey in scaling, is that what I see a lot of guys doing when they join the acquisition partner program is that they have chosen an offer that doesn't match not only their own personal position in the marketplace, but their business's positioning too. So you see a lot of guys that jump quickly into the solar niche. And what we're finding is that a lot of these guys are picking this niche because they've heard it from some sort of guru online or whatever it might be. They've taken an SMA course and they've found out that solar is something that you can charge on a per lead basis. And they look at that and they think, oh, that's really attractive, because if I can bring in tons and tons of leads into that business, it's going to mean more revenue to me and my bank account. But the problem is that a lot of these guys that I speak with have no experience in solar. They have no interest in solar. They don't know anybody in solar. They don't have a background in solar. And despite having a really good offer, seemingly, they actually have no kind of position in the marketplace when it comes to bringing that offer to their ideal clients. And the problem that we see here is that a client is only so receptive to an offer to the extent that it depends on who you are and where you are in the marketplace. Now, if you are a 15-year-old and you're bringing some, sort of, techie, SMA, social media marketing, quick fire offer to the marketplace, and you're blasting it across cold email, whatever it might be, and you're using language like bro and, I can help you out, or whatever it might be, then maybe, your offer might be weak, but at least it fits your position in the marketplace. Okay. People are going to see you and expect you as a 14-year-old to communicate like that. But the way that you get to this stage and doing 100K deals per year is not by having a great offer and weak positioning. It's by making sure that the relationship between the two is very, very strong. Okay. So you could have a terrible offer, which might be basket weaving. Okay. So custom basket weaving. I'm going to draw a basket here. It's going to look very, very terrible. There we go. Don't knock my drawing skills. So your offer might be basket weaving, bespoke custom baskets that you weave by hand, and that might be a great offer for you because you are the champion basket weaver in the UK or in the States, whatever it might be, and you are the number one basket weaver. So it might marry up your relationship here between where you are positioned in the marketplace, what your personal brand is, and your offer. But as you can clearly see here, custom basket weaving is a poor offer. Okay, so it's probably not something that you can charge 100K per year for, despite you having a really strong position in the marketplace in order to do so. Okay, so what you got to do with this first step here that you need to take is really look at the offer that you've got on the table, and you've really got to match it up to whether this really matches your personal experience and your position in the marketplace. Okay, so the chances are, in order to charge 100K a year for one individual client, chances are you're going to have to be professional. Okay, so if you're talking and you're communicating like, hey bro, what up fam, whatever it might be, you need to polish up your communication style, and you need to actually think about the types of clients that are going to be receiving your messaging that you are hopefully going to be able to close. Okay, and that brings me on to the next point here, your ICP. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, ICP stands for your ideal customer or client profile. And what the ICP kind of framework and formula will allow you to do, we have a bespoke process that we go through in the Acquisition Partner Program that helps every one of our enrollees actually super nail their ICPs with 100% certainty. What you need to know about your ICP is a couple of core variables and inputs. Okay, so namely, this is about budget. And that's what they are going to be able to spend on your service. And what budget really feeds into is revenues. Okay, so you want businesses that are doing high revs. So typically 5 mil at a low end. And then we have guys in the program here, they're working with companies that do over 500 plus mil on an annual basis in terms of their revenue generated. So you want to make sure from an introductory standpoint here that your ICPs are companies that have budget to actually spend. Okay. Other things that we look at and we help guys in the program actually find these clients is, are they a historical business? Okay. So have they existed for a long period of time? Are they recession proof? So we have 3 core niches that we have, well, they're verticals really, that we help every enrollee select a niche within. And within those verticals, we basically identify industries that have a low sensitivity to recessions and they have low sensitivity to market fluctuations, whatever it might be. And historically, they've been around for a long period of time. Okay, so companies that have been around for 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, whatever it might be. These are the guys that you will more likely, in more cases than none, be able to actually close high ticket deals with. All right. So we have a whole process that we go through within the program. These are a couple of the variables that we go over and we actually help each enrollee identify and isolate. But it's very, very important that you're actually contacting and going after companies that match your ideal client profile and that actually have the funds, the history, the professional experience to be able to make decisions and pay you 100K a year. Okay. So if you are going, you're doing outreach to nail salons and there's one person in the nail salon that operates there, or hair salons and it's one hairdresser, chances are they're not going to be able to afford your service for 100K per year. Now, the next piece of the pie that you have to focus on is your delivery vehicle. Okay, so once you've sorted out your offer and your positioning, once you know who your ICP is and you've got a condensed list of companies to outreach and go after, you need to really know and hone what your delivery vehicle is. Okay, so a lot of the guys that join our main program come from the arena of offering Facebook ads. Okay. And a lot of these guys are in the mindset that we will charge $0 upfront plus a $500 ad spend. And that's the way we're going to get proof of concept and case studies and things like that, and actually get clients to work with that we can then go on to upsell. And 9 times out of 10, these individuals actually can't get clients on these basis. And when they do, clients like this are just an absolute nightmare to work with. Okay. So when you're offering a service that's wrapped up in a service delivery vehicle like this, it becomes very, very difficult to actually conceptualize being able to bill over 100K per year from one individual client. Okay. Now, we have a number of different pricing mechanisms that we leverage with all of our clients. And the best way and the quickest way to actually get to a point where you are doing these deals of over 100K per year is by having a pricing mechanism that doesn't rely on one set principle. Okay, so most people that run an agency, they want to focus on retainers. They think, oh, if I can get a monthly recurring retainer, that means that I'm going to be able to predict cash flow. If I get one client for $4,000 a month, it's replacing my salary, whatever it might be. But in order to actually command 100K per year fees, you need to get a bit more dynamic and varied with your pricing. Okay, so typically what we do with most of our clients is we charge an upfront fee. We then bill a retainer on the back end, and we typically charge a 5 to 15% commission. It's going to be a percent there on all of the deals that we've helped bring in. So if we're working with a client, we're helping them acquire their own clients. So they're in the B2B space, then we will be charging 5 to 15% of every single deal that we add to their deal flow and that we help them close. Okay. So when it comes back here to working with the right types of clients and your ICPs, this is why it's important to work with a client that is actually doing considerable revenues, because not only can you charge that upfront fee, you're going to get money on the back end through your retainer, which helps you predict consistent cash flow. And then you're going to make the real money here through your commission payments. Okay. So one of our clients that we've worked with were a medical device company. Okay. So they sold lasers. This does not look like a laser. They sold lasers. Okay. And they were a USA based North American company. Didn't trade internationally. They had over 30 field sales reps. So kind of SDRs. And these guys were selling lasers and laser machines to physiotherapists and med spas, things like that, for a minimum ticket price of 40K. All right. So if you start to look at the numbers here, if we helped one SDR do one deal per month, oh God, I'm going to have to do some math here. It's I'm terrible at maths. To say we charged a 5% fee of that for that one particular client, for that one SDR. All right, we're looking at a commission fee of 2K just for one laser sale from one SDR. Okay, so if with this client we've got 30 field sales reps and they are selling one 40K laser per month, you can start to see how much revenue you can actually make on the back end here. So what's that? 2K times 30 reps equals 60K. Okay. So from this one client alone, whether you've charged a 10K upfront setup fee or, a 2K fee, whatever it might be, and whatever your monthly recurring revenue is, whether that's 2K or 15K, from a client just like this that we've been able to deduce from your ICP here, you're going to be pulling in an extra 40K in, was it 40K? 60K there. So more than I thought, 60K in commission payments. All right. So this is why the acquisition partner model is so profitable and so attractive and alluring is that you can, in essence, have one client and make well over 100K per year from managing just one client. Now, this all came about from when I was running the email agency as a traditional brick and mortar agency, charging monthly retainers, where typically we were billing about 5K per client, USD. And it got to the point where I realized that in order to scale the business and make more money, big arrow, more money, I actually had to bring on more clients, equals more clients, okay? And at that point in time, I don't remember how many clients we were actually managing. Say you're managing 15 clients, 10 clients, whatever it might be. The prospect of actually managing 15 clients is incredibly stressful. Okay, so in order to scale, your variable costs indefinitely increase. Okay, so every new client that you bring on, your variable costs increase. You need more members of staff to manage those clients. You're going to add more tools that you need to pay for, or get reimbursed through your client for. You're going to bring on more processes, whatever it might be. You have to add more and more to the business. Okay, so in order to scale, you basically have to just make the business continually bigger, which becomes harder to manage, more stressful, and quite frankly, it wasn't what I wanted from my business. Okay, so that's when I pivoted. And for any of you that don't know my journey with Acquisition Partner and how I became an acquisition partner, then take a look through my channel and join the free community on Discord and join our email list, because I go through it all in detail there. But really, what I wanted was a business where I could make as much money as I wanted to and as possible with no glass ceiling. And it actually didn't mean that I had to increase operational strain. Okay, so I could basically keep my business in terms of the operations standpoint flatlined, which means staff members. I didn't need to keep adding more and more heads to the team. I could literally be myself, and we've got 4 other team members. Okay, so just shooting over now to the last couple of points. Once you've got your delivery vehicle down pat and you've got your systems and how you're actually going to operate and deliver your service all condensed and streamlined, your ability to command these fees really comes down to your ability to sell. Okay, and the difference here is that a lot of the guys we see who join the program, they are focusing on a sales process that leverages emotion. And it actually isn't a process that helps them reverse engineer specifically what's valuable to their clients. So one thing that we do with each of our enrollees is that we switch their sales process from being emotive and emotion-based to consultative. Okay. And what you will find is that when you're dealing with CEOs of companies that are turning over $10 million a year, $100 million a year, $500 million a year, you'll find that the sales process naturally extends itself. So it becomes slightly longer than if you were to leverage that emotional sale. Say you're selling an online course that's $200 or whatever it might be. It's a lot of the guys we see, they are able to focus on leveraging that kind of emotive-based sale. When you switch over to the consultative sales model here, you're going to find that you might have to do not only a first call, a second demo call, you might have to do a third call, a fourth call, a fifth call, or an in-person meeting, whatever it might be. But you'll find that through this process, you're actually able to specifically reverse engineer what it is that your clients actually find valuable, what they will actually pay for, and it will help you refine your service delivery and your service offering so that everything that you deliver to that client is efficient and is actually what they need, and you're not providing any fluff or anything that's wasting everybody's time. Okay, so we have a whole process that we go through inside the program, and a lot of what that process focuses on is objection handling. Okay, so when it comes down to objection handling, it comes down to one, or if not two, of two things. Okay, it's either they don't understand you, so the prospect, when you are selling them, pitching them, or speaking with them through that consultative sales process, they still don't understand what it is you actually deliver, or they don't trust you, or they don't trust that this is going to work. Okay, sometimes it's a combination of the two. All right, so your ability to command fees like this depends and hinges on how well you can actually handle objections. Now, a lot of guys in our paid community too, if you're not in the community, I'll drop a link below, check it out. A lot of the guys in there are often asking us questions about what should I answer when I'm asked X, okay? So should I say Y? Should I say Z? What do I say when the prospects ask me X question, all right? They're looking for a specific answer that they can give that prospect and basically use that and leverage that kind of as a silver bullet in order to finalize the deal and bring that client on as a paying customer. But what we have to do is kind of go through a bit of a mindset shift, okay? And what we find is that through this consultative sales process and through what we do in the 5 phases of the AP program is we actually help each mentee not only match their ICP's objections in a way that doesn't seem like they are providing a consistent answer to a question, but we actually help them use objection handling in order to refine their product and service offering, and build proposals out that actually command fees like this. Okay. So typically what we see with a lot of the younger guys is that they want this specific answer to a specific question. They think that the prospect, it's the prospect's job to ask them a question, and it's their job to answer that question. In reality, what we do is make them shift their mindset. Okay. So instead of them being the seller, we tell them to shift their mindset to being the buyer. Okay. And when you are the buyer, it's your job to ask questions and get answers from the seller. Okay. And what this relationship kind of shows here, and what it's going to help you do, is take yourself out of that mindset of having to only focus on you. And you're going to be all nervous in these calls, sweating, thinking that you have to answer questions because you are selling something. Whereas in reality, the individual that sat across you in, the boardroom or on your sales call, whatever it might be, they are the individuals that are selling themselves to you. Okay, so you're in this position of high perceived value. Again, we go into this. I'm just skirting on the top level details here. We go through this in detail in the program, but what we help you do is basically go from a position of being perceived as low ticket and low value to somebody that's high value, where your relationship as buyer and seller is flipped on its head, and you're not actually selling anything. It's up to the people that are going to join your service or your program, whatever it might be. It's their job to sell you on why you should accept that in. Okay. If you don't know how to do that, it becomes very, very difficult to actually command fees like this. All right. And the last point here, I'll just skirt over very, very quickly, is that of communication. Okay. So a lot of guys who are running companies that are doing over $200 million a year, $500 million a year, whatever it might be, their number one focus is on scaling and efficiency. Okay. So they don't want to have anything emotional. They don't want fluff. They don't want a quick chit chat. What you need to focus on when you are doing deals like this is communication that cuts straight to the chase, and provides a very clear call to action whenever you are sending out a request or a question or whatever it might be to your ICP. Okay, so you don't want to leave any ambiguity on the table. A lot of guys that are stuck in the £500 or dollar per month retainer sort of area and stage of their business think that they have to soften everything with all of their prospects, waffle, beat around the bush, because if they are direct, they're going to turn their prospects off, and then they're going to get objections, and the prospect's going to be unhappy, whatever it might be. What you'll find is that when you deal with ICPs that are that you're able to command such fees for, that they will actually see that as more of a negative. Okay. So what you have to do is cut straight to the chase, be very direct, and go straight to your value prop. Okay. Like I say, we do this inside the program, and it's something that I can make some more videos on, depending on how well this video is received. So let me know what you think, guys. Drop me a comment below. If you haven't already subscribe to the channel. We've got loads more videos that we're going to bring to the channel this year. I'm going to do everything we can basically to show you what we're doing to bring on more and more clients where we're able to charge such fees like this. All right, guys. So if you're stuck in that position, you're not happy with where you're at, you're being seen constantly as low value, you're only able to charge low ticket prices for your services, then hit subscribe, turn that notification bell on so you're alerted every time I upload a new video, and let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. All right, guys, speak soon. Cheers.